I want a copy of these strange marks. My family's tomb is down that way, past the Ross tomb. I don't need to go visit the family tomb today. I don't need to go visit the family tomb today. Hello there. Got a sec?
Go ahead. These folks ain't in no hurry.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
They say it was part of an old religion from Africa, brought here by slaves.
What can you tell me about?
Seem like everyone wants to visit New Orleans at least once in their lives. And they love the cemetery tours. I see tourists in here every day of the year.
What can you...
There are lots of things to see here, but none as beautiful as St. Louis Cemetery No. 1.
What can you
I don't really care to talk.
What can you
You want to know more?
What do you know?
Isn't it just awful? I don't think there's any real voodoo going on. Somebody trying to cover their tracks is all.
What do you know about...
I told you all I know about that.
Do you know anything about snakes?
Snakes? I see snakes around here all the time. Most of them aren't poisonous, of course. I don't mind snakes myself, but lots of folks are afraid of them.
Do you know anything about...
I told...
What's the significance of St. John's Eve?
Well, St. John the Baptist is the patron saint of voodoo. Sometimes we get weird goings-on in the cemetery on that night. More often on a few nights before. People taking grave dirt, bones, and who knows what.
That's pretty disgusting.
Yep. Don't know what they do with them, but it can be pretty.
What's the significance?
I told...
Do you have any idea what Caprice San Call means?
Nope. Can't say that I do.
Do you know anything about Marie Laveau?
Sure. She was the voodoo queen of New Orleans, a powerful voodooian and a powerful sorceress. Believers still come to her tomb, you know. They write secret marks on the walls, leave offerings. Then there's the tourists. They come out of curiosity. As a matter of fact, that big Dr. John fella from that voodoo museum, he's here at least once a day. But Marie Laveau's tomb isn't the only one the believers visit and make markings and leave offerings at.
What else can you...
Her tomb's on all our tours. Even the Baptists come round here to gawk. Of course, you may not know this, but some of the real serious voodoo types argue that she ain't in this one at all. Down in the unmarked tomb in number 3. It's all the same to me, I say. Saved me a lot of cleanup work if she weren't here, if you ask me.
Do you know anything about animal masks?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Tell me about yourself.
My name is Toussaint Gervais. I'm the watchman here at St. Louis number 1.
What exactly do you do here?
Oh, I keep the place tidy, of course, but a big part of my job, too, is looking out for the grievers, you know. People come to pay their respects, and they need looking out for. Sometimes they so grief-bound, they don't know what they doing.
Tell me about yourself.
That's about all there is to say.
Tell me something about St. Louis Cemetery, number 1.
You know why the dead are buried in tombs and not in the ground, don't you? The water table's too high. Them coffins will float right out of their graves. Ha! Them dead will go floating right down into the Calder. Of course, if it were Mardi Gras, nobody'd even notice. It's a historical place. People buried in here from the Civil War. Back further, too. Take a look around. You'll see.
Tell me something.
Just look around.
You said there were other mock tombs?
Yep. I've seen bull hearts left on tombs and a nest of vulture feathers, plates of peas and congreve. Animal parts, human parts even, it look like. Male parts, if you get my meaning. And this is one of the great family crypts, mind you. Odd how them types just pick a spot and stick to it.
What other tombs got marked? Can you show me?
No, I ain't one for naming names. I don't like to encourage that kind of thing. It's distressing to the families, and rightly so.
You been working here a long time?
Longer than you've been alive, son. I mayhaps be here longer than you'll be alive, for that matter.
Kind of a quiet job you got, isn't it?
Most of the time, yeah. They act up some at the full moon, though.
You must enjoy the company of dead folks.
Unlike the living, they ain't never given no reason to dislike 'em none.
How's business today?
About like every day. It's what you call a seller's market.
I don't need to go visit the... Hello, Dr. John.
Glad you could return to us, Mr. Knight.
Could I ask you some more questions?
Of course. I also find our dialogue stimulating.
What can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
It is one of the important ceremonial nights in Voodoo.
Do you know anything about animal masks?
I used to have some antique African totem masks, but they were on the point of disintegration, so I removed them.
What else can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
I am afraid I do not know the origins of St. John's Eve. I only know that it was a night of ritual long before Voodoo came to New Orleans.
What makes you think the voodoo murders aren't being done by local practitioners?
Voodoo is a popular boogeyman, Mr. Knight, especially in New Orleans. Anyone can pretend to use it, just as anyone can pretend to be a black belt in karate. And for the same reason, to intimidate. I know voodoo in this city, Mr. Knight, and believe me, it is not about killing. Even the police have stated that the killings have nothing to do with local voodoo.
So you know no-
I neither know nor care to know, Mr. Knight. My only possible interest is in how it might affect the public's attitude towards the museum. So far, it has not been an issue. No one has even had the bad taste to bring it up. Until you, that is.
What is it about New Orleans?
It has a real culture of its own, Mr. Knight. Amid the horrid blandness that is Americana, New Orleans alone has a voice.
Spoken like a true New Orleanian. Is this snake yours? Do you use it in your practice of voodoo?
I admire the spirit of the snake, Mr. Knight. But snakes, like the museums, can be quite dangerous to handle.
You didn't really answer my question.
I think I did, Mr. Knight.
Are you sure you can't educate me further about animal masks?
Unfortunately, I do not know much about totem masks. The practice was more African than American, and that is not my area of expertise.
Okay, thanks. Are you sure you can't tell me anything about voodoo?
I've given you as much detail as I can, Mr. Knight. Look around the museum if you desire more information.
Tell me more about Marie Laveau.
When the widow Paris began to practice, there were many voodooians in the city. By 1830, she was voodoo queen of all New Orleans. The widow Paris was a hairdresser for rich Creole ladies. She also paid household servants to spy for her. Between the two, she knew everything about everyone who mattered in New Orleans. She was not above using her information to appear psychic, to intimidate, or even to blackmail.
You sound as though you admire her.
For a black woman in the mid-1800s to gain power is an incredible thing, Mr. Knight. However she achieved it.
Tell me more about Marie Laveau.
She kept a pet snake, danced with it too. She held traditional voodoo ceremonies out by the lake. She took herself seriously, very seriously. But she was not above selling tickets for her events to curiosity seekers. She was not above using voodoo any way she could to make money. That is for certain. But if she had been in another line of work, in another age, that would have been interpreted as entrepreneurial genius, rather than a sign of fraudulence.
Hey, you don't need to convince me. I admire anyone that can actually make a living. Tell me more about Marie Laveau.
It was Marie Laveau who defined the voodoo that is truly and uniquely the voodoo of New Orleans. She invented hundreds, if not thousands, of spells, potions, charms, and incantations. These form the basis of the modern practice, not to mention the folk tradition of hoodoo.
Tell me more about Marie Laveau.
Her daughter, Marie Glapion, took over when Widow Paris got old. Most people thought it was the same Marie Laveau. Both Maries encouraged that point of view. The Widow Paris died in 1881. Marie Glapion had been reigning a long time by then. After the death of the Widow Paris, other voodoo queens surfaced, and by 1890, the cult was fragmented again. Marie Glapion just sort of faded away.
Tell me more about Marie Laveau.
You have heard everything about Marie Laveau that a layman might expect to understand.
Do you know what Caprice encore means?
I fear my French is not all it should be, Mr. Knight.
Tell me about yourself.
What more can I tell you?
Just tell me anything.
Not everyone can come see the museum, so I occasionally do public speaking on the subject of historical voodoo.
Anything coming up that I might attend?
No. But then you have me all to yourself right now, do you not?
Actually, I can't think of a thing.
Then let us discuss something else.
You're a big guy, aren't you? Do you work out, play sports?
I do not play basketball, if that is what you want to know.
Who, me? No, you just look like such a natural athlete.
I do find ways of keeping fit, Mr. Knight. After all, our bodies are temples.
You sound like Grace. I should get the two of you together.
Is Grace your wife?
No, she just acts like it. So what do you think of our summer weather? Have you ever seen it so overcast or so muggy?
It is unpleasant. The heavens are not pleased these days.
Nice outfit.
I prefer simple cotton to dead flesh, Mr. Knight.
I'll have to remember that. This is quite a place you have here.
Thank you, Mr. Knight. I have dedicated myself to the preservation of this unique culture. It is gratifying to see others reap the fruits I have sown.
I'll be going.
Come back again.
May I help you?
My name is Detective Mosley. I'm here on police business.
Really? How interesting. Wait here. I'll inform Miss Getty. Miss Getty will see you. Right this way. Miss Getty will be down shortly.
Thank you.
What can I do for you, Detective?
modern art?
More or less. It's a Picasso.
I can imagine doing things on that rug.
Excuse me?
Oh, nothing. Beautiful women. They must be relatives.
They are.
Nice statue. I like it.
Thank you. It's The Rebellious Slave by Michelangelo.
Undoubtedly proof that there is a God. Mind if I ask you a few questions, Miss Getty?
I assume that's what you're here for, Detective.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
Voodoo? Why would you want to know about that, Detective? It's rather silly, isn't it?
There's nothing silly about the voodoo murders.
But that voodoo is faked. That's what I've read in the papers.
That's what the papers say, all right.
But you're not convinced.
No, frankly, I'm not. The police department isn't known for its imagination.
Oh? Well, I can see that your imagination is considerable.
Are you sure you can't tell me anything about voodoo?
I really don't know much about it. Isn't there some place in town that you can find out about that sort of thing? A museum or something?
I believe there is a museum.
Then maybe you should check there.
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
The murders? Only what I read in the papers.
And what do you read in the papers?
I'm sure you know much more about it than I, Detective.
Tell me about your life in New Orleans.
The Getty family came to New Orleans in 1800. We worked very hard to get where we are. On the other hand, we've done a lot for this community.
I can believe that. You're doing a lot for me right now. Tell me more about New Orleans.
I'm afraid I don't get out into New Orleans society much. Because of the Getty money, we have slots in the best country clubs and on the best Mardi Gras courts. But I must admit I hate it. I avoid actually making an appearance unless it becomes absolutely necessary.
I know about those courts. They're very exclusive.
Yes, especially when it comes to people of my race. That's why we don't turn down the appointments. It's a rare opportunity to rub their noses in it. But that's not where I spend my time. I have more important things to do with my life.
That's admirable. Many women would love the chance to get caught up in that kind of life.
I'm not any kind of woman you might be familiar with.
Yes, I can see that. Do you know anything about snakes?
I'm no expert. I don't fear them like most people do.
What can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
I believe it's some sort of local holiday, but I don't know much about it.
What do you know about Marie Laveau?
I've heard of her, of course, but that's about it.
Do you have any idea what Cabri Saint-Caux means?
No, I don't. What does it mean, Detective?
That's confidential information, ma'am. Do you know anything about animal masks?
Animal masks? I don't know what you mean.
Tell me about yourself.
I suppose I don't really have a choice. What do you want to know, Detective?
What kind of things interest you?
I don't have a lot of free time, but I do appreciate the arts. Opera, symphony, ballet, fine art. If you look around, you'll see that we collect African art, for example.
Yes, it's very beautiful.
It is, Detective. It means a great deal to me.
Do you have a career?
A career? Being the head of the Getty family is a 24-hour-a-day job. We have many holdings and many responsibilities, financial and otherwise. The management of our business affairs and properties leaves me with time for little else.
Poor little rich girl?
Believe it or not, Detective, wealth does have its price.
Tell me about your family.
The Gettys? We're a very private family.
How many people are there in your family?
Well, my mother just passed away.
Oh, I am sorry.
So am I. She was a magnificent woman. We were very close. I was an only child.
And your father?
I never knew him.
It's hard to believe that any man would leave a woman like you, or like your mother must have been.
He did not leave, Detective. But that's really none of your concern.
I'm sorry. Go on.
There are, of course, other Gettys in the city. I have a large extended family.
I see. Do you have a husband, boyfriend?
I'm very independent, Detective. The women in my family have always preferred it that way.
So, you've never been married?
No, and I never will be.
What about children?
Yes, that is likely. Someday.
I'd like to hear just about anything.
I have a business degree from Vanderbilt. I wanted to study psychology, but my family's interests came first.
Oh, why not something like law, then? Surely that would have been an asset to the family.
Law? Please. I do have some morals, Detective.
I'd like to hear just about anything.
For the record, I'm 28, Detective.
I'd like to hear just about...
I have few friends. A woman in my position can't really afford them.
I'd like to hear just...
I try to stay away from the media as much as possible. Last year there was that story about John Jr. and I. Phone didn't stop ringing for weeks. I prefer to keep my private life private. I would appreciate it if you'd keep my name away from any public association with the police, Detective.
Of course. I wouldn't know where...
As you wish, Detective.
Can you tell me anything about what happened out at the lake?
I wish I could. But I've never seen or heard anything unusual at the lake. And I do spend quite a bit of time out there.
Excuse me, but your eyes are really distracting. I don't think I've ever seen a color quite like that brownish gold. It's so deep and rich. Man, if I could bottle that, I'd make a fortune.
Thank you, Detective. That's an interesting observation, though probably not relevant to your case.
A good detective never knows what might be relevant, Miss Getty.
Then you must be truly exceptional at your job.
I can't help noticing that you're in incredible shape, Miss Getty. Your legs are so strong. Do you work out at one of the clubs by the lake?
Well, Detective, I do enjoy physical activity.
Oh, me too.
Actually, I was referring to swimming and modern dance. I can't say that I do much exercising at the lake, though.
Ah, well, it was worth asking.
I think this has gone on long enough. You're not really a detective, are you?
Who, me? Well, I am on this case, Miss Getty.
I saw you at the lake yesterday. I thought you must be with the police since you were there, but you don't act like a police officer. Besides, I'm rather certain that the other man said his name was Mosley.
All right, you caught me. I'm not with the police. My name is Gabriel Knight. I'm a writer working with Detective Mosley on a book.
Well, Mr. Knight, now that we've established who you are, perhaps you can tell me the real reason you're here.
Well, I am researching the book, and I thought you might have seen or heard something at the lake.
I don't like liars, Mr. Knight.
Okay, you're right. I really just wanted to see you again. You can be mad at me if you want, but I swear I've never done anything like this before.
Mr. Knight, you've lied about your identity and wasted my time with meaningless questions. If it weren't vaguely flattering, I'd really be angry. You're lucky I don't call the real police. I think you should go, Mr. Knight.
Malia, wait. If you just give me a chance.
I've wasted enough time. I'll have Robert show you out. Robert? Show Mr. Knight out, please.
I most certainly will.
Thank you very much. I had a lovely time. Ah, shit. The sign says the Overlook's closed for repairs until June 21st.
Oh, hey! Oh, come back here. Hey! Oh, unbelievable. Rotten luck.
Those drawing tools are amazing.
Yeah, they're great for laying lines, angles, circles, anything geometric. It's pretty meticulous, but I prefer it to freehand.
Can you draw anything with those tools?
They're great for ordered, complex forms and patterns, but they won't help me do Monet.
How's it going?
Life sucks. I just lost 2 days worth of work.
What are you working on now?
Just starting another drawing of the cathedral.
Hey there, nice beat. I dig it. You dance pretty well for a kid.
Give me some money then.
I don't have any.
Then don't block the view, mister.
Do you do requests?
Got any money?
Nope.
Something to eat?
No.
There you have it. No.
Can you fit through the bars around the statue?
Got any money?
Nope.
There you have it. No.
Can't think of anything.
Okay then.
Could I get a doobie dog, please?
Not now. I'm busy.
Hello, are you selling doobie dogs or not? I have this gift certificate.
I'm busy.
It's good for $20 at St. George's Books. Finest bookstore in New Orleans.
Really? I'll have to check it out sometime.
You could take this gift certificate with you. If you'll give me a doobie dog.
A doobie dog for a $20 gift certificate? Sure, here you go.
You wouldn't like a doobie dog by any chance.
Would I? Thanks, mister. You got any special requests? Let me know.
You mentioned something about special requests.
Yeah, you got one?
Can you fit through the bars around the statue?
Can I? Just watch me.
Good. There's something in there I can't quite reach. Can you reach that piece of paper?
Sure thing. Here you go.
Thanks, kid.
Yup. See ya.
Stupid wind. Now I have to start all over.
This belongs to you, doesn't it?
My drawing. How'd you get it?
Oh, it was a bit of a squeeze, but I hate to see you lose your work. I lost my only copy of a manuscript once.
Well, you saved my butt. Let me know if I can ever do the same for you, hey?
Nice drawing of the cathedral.
Hey, thanks.
It's really precise.
Well, I'm an architectural student, actually. It's good practice.
Do you mind if I watch you?
Be my guest.
Is there any way you can reconstruct the whole pattern from these partials?
The pattern is probably circular, and there's some repetition in the elements. Okie dokie. Well, I think there's an area missing. If you could get me any more of these, I'll see what I can do.
I have another one of those patterns.
Really? Let's see. Yeah, this is great. I think there's enough overlap now. I'll give it my best shot. I'll show you what I come up with tomorrow.
Great. I appreciate it.
I'm so glad you could join us today. I've got messages when you want them. I also checked out Casino. There are multiple listings in the white pages. I got the page, but you'll have to figure out the right one.
Great. Thanks.
Now, are you gonna tell me what happened yesterday with Malia Getty, or is it just too embarrassing? Don't tell me you actually got to see her.
All the stars out tonight.
Gabriel, you don't seriously think she's interested. She can have any man in the city. You know, men with bank accounts.
You underestimate the Knight family's tragic poet samurai appeal. When Daddy married Mom, she was the hottest catch in town.
I always suspected there was something fishy in your family tree. But seriously, I think you should be careful.
Meow, Grace.
I'm serious. I don't know why, but I have a bad feeling in the pit of my stomach about this.
It's called jealousy, my dear. And you're right, you should be jealous of Malia Getty. As should every woman on this planet.
I just... never mind. I'll just fix these books. Your life is in your own slippery little hands.
The point is to get it into somebody else's hands. And soon.